Thanks for staying. Appreciate it. Almost there. So little background. In 2013, at our 100th anniversary, we decided we're going to launch a 100 Resilient Cities initiative to help 100 cities around the world to be better prepared for 21st century challenges. Challenges like globalizations, urbanizations, and climate change. People, when the foundation was founded 100 years ago, so 10% of the world population, probably right behind there, that live in cities. And now over 50 are living in cities. By the mid-century, 70% will live in cities. People like to go to cities, right? It's where it's fun, it's where the social connection, but it's also where the opportunities are. So people want to live in cities, but it's not just about these global pressure like climate change, right? The chronic stresses like disease, unemployment, obesity, those threaten the social fabric. And more importantly, or just as importantly, these acute shocks like hurricane, earthquake, or terrorism could threaten everybody who live and work in the city. Right? A city itself is a fairly complex system. It is not just a bunch of government officials. There are people, there are institutions, there are infrastructure, there's informations. Collectively, they shape a cities. Right? What you don't want is a shock or a stress, right? Becoming a multiplier and having a cascade failure. Right? Almost there. I'll finish before this goes up. No. I have given this about 2,000 times, so I think I remember most of it. But nevertheless, okay. Okay. It's a very important slide I want to show you, but I can come back to it. So the point is, I'll try to describe the slide, right? It was we're getting there. I would. We good? I will come back to that slide, okay? Now, the two things that we were going to say, like, when we talk about resilience, like, there are people out there worry about, say, hurricane and earthquake, and they do a tremendously good job. They look at the city's risk, they look at how they can save life, right? But to us, that is not enough. To us, a city has many underlying vulnerability. You know what? Let's don't even do that. Can I make a suggestion? Just go back to the previous one, and you can help me. I won't use this. Yeah, can we just do this? Okay, we're going to just use this picture. When I first saw this picture, I thought it was in Hong Kong where I grew up, because I've seen this over and over. But in reality, this exists in every single city in the world. Right? Challenge me, you will find one that doesn't have a picture like that. A city is basically, no matter they're small or large, they're divided into the have and have not. So this is just one of the underlying problem every city faces. Right? So city has to deal with that. They can't just worry about the physical shocks. They have to worry about the economic resilience as well as the social resilience. Can we go to the next one, please? No, probably. Okay, let's go to the next one. Thank you. So what we do, what we are asked to do, as our whole team does, is to help city figure out how to deal with all these complex issues, right? And become more resilient. We help our cities by funding a chief resilient officer. So he or she is asked to break down all city silos, but not just having the departments work with each other, have the city work with the civic society, whether it's the universities, the NGOs, the community leaders, as well as the private businesses. You look at most cities, it is the NGOs, the civic societies, and the private businesses who make actually more investment in the city than the city itself. Now, one way of breaking down silos is really sharing data. You'll be amazed how many cities that never even still don't share data internally, right? Or you may not be amazed, you probably see more than I do. They don't share data. I mean, just sharing data and using data of whether from the private business or from the community leaders is just as important. It's not just like everybody working in little silos. Once the city hires a chief resilient officer, we provide funding for the city to develop a resilience strategy. It's about a 6 to 9 months effort. We don't want to do the 3-year plan, but we want actionable items. We want city to think about not just what is immediate today. We want city to think about in the long term. I'll give an example. Rio de Janeiro, right at the border of the Amazon. You think they ever run out of water? When they first joined our network, they never thought about that. And today, that becomes a top of mind issue, right? Because São Paulo had a drought. So we want them to think long term. We also want them to I talk about it being very engaging and thinking long term, but also think holistically how projects are integrated, right? So you may be building a new highway system and your counterpart may be building a new housing project. Think about the dependencies. Think about the dependency or the stress it adds to the infrastructure. Think about the need of more education. How do you deal with crime? How do you deal with the sewer problem, and so on and so on. So that's the first thing that we try to do. The second thing we try to do is we see the market as inefficient. We believe cities don't understand what is out in the market, and vice versa. The market doesn't understand what is in the city. Can I go to the next one? So what we try to do is aggregate the city's needs and bring it to the market. And to us, the market is the private businesses, the public sectors, the academic institutions, as well as a lot of nice nonprofits out there. But we want to bring these solutions and back to the cities. Right? We want to scale solutions. There are solutions that are exceptional, that sits in the government, sits in the city, sits in the region. How do we bring them all across? And the last thing, I'm not going to go back to the previous slide, is we have a network function. We want cities to learn from each other. Right? There is no better way for a city to learn something than learn from their peers. Learn from the peer CRO, learn from the peer mayor. We can tell them 1,000 things. You can show them 1,000,000 examples. It's not the same as they telling each other, because that's where the brotherhood, sisterhood comes in. Next slide, please. So in 2013, when we were still designing our plane while we're flying it, we picked a number of cities. And you look at our list of cities, then you see small cities, you see large cities, you see cities with very sophisticated, you see cities that are totally a blank sheet, like ready for any kind of intervention. Right? We pick cities because they excel, like in San Francisco, in seismic. Right? We want them to teach other cities. We want them to lead in how to do that. We pick Rotterdam because of the way they live with water. We picked Porto Alegre in Brazil because they are exceptional in participatory budgeting. Right? We pick city for many different reasons. But for one thing that we want to do, can I go to the next slide, please? Oops. Well, never mind. So Well, we pick cities because when we pick big or small, and because we want every city in the world to be able to identify one of our cities and be inspired to make the kind of changes that is necessary to deal with these 21st century challenges. Now, there's not an advertisement. I just want to let you know, if you know any cities that you think that should join our network, please let us know. We have another month to go for our third challenge, where we invite more cities to join our network. And we also, welcome any one of you who wants to come and help teach our cities, help our cities. We're most welcome to that. Thank you.